Hello everyone, and welcome to Babylon Leather's official channel. Today, we'll be crafting a leather Supreme crossbody bag. Here is the display of the finished result. First, inspect all materials. If any issues arise, contact Babylon official support. If there are no issues, please start making. This is the shoulder strap. Two D-ring hardware pieces, one piping strip material. Two shoulder strap keepers. Two front patch pieces. One small piece with a magnetic snap. One front panel piece. One pocket piece. One back panel piece. Let's first learn to distinguish the front and back sides. Look at the holes. Larger holes indicate the front side, smaller holes indicate the back. Take this notch piece, which is the front panel, and place it front side up. First, sew the decorative stitches along this row of holes. Measure the thread to 4 times the stitching length and cut it. You can always measure a bit more, there is definitely enough thread. Open the thread, take 2 needles, and set the rest aside for later use. Start threading the needle by passing the thread through the needle eye. Then use the needle tip to pierce the center of the thread. Pull it tight. Now the needle is properly threaded. Thread the other needle in the same way. Begin sewing by inserting the first needle from bottom to top through the first hole. Pass the second needle through the second hole. Pull both ends of the thread evenly to keep the lengths the same. Then insert the first needle through the second hole again. Be careful not to pierce the thread. Pull the thread tight. Now the stitching has started. Continue sewing normally using the double needle stitching method. Pull the thread tight after every stitch and keep the thread direction consistent. Do not pierce the thread. Do not skip any holes. Always pull the thread vertically to avoid damaging the leather. These things must be noted every time, and they will not be reminded again. After finishing all the holes, begin securing the thread by backstitching one stitch to reinforce. Then pull all the thread to the backside. Leave a tail of about 3 mm and trim the thread. Then use a lighter to gently burn off the thread ends bit by bit. Be careful not to blacken the thread or burn the leather. That completes the thread finishing. Take a look at the result after sewing. Take the 2 shoulder strap keepers, place all materials front side up with the shoulder strap keepers on top. Align the holes. The finished piece will have a curved shape. Measure the thread to 6 times the stitching length and thread the needles normally. Align the holes and begin sewing from the first hole, inserting the needle from bottom to top. Then sew normally using the double needle stitching method. This technique joins the 2 materials together. Sew forward normally until finished. After sewing the shoulder strap keepers, secure the thread using the same method. Leave a tail of about 3 mm, cut the thread, and use a lighter to gently burn off the ends. Be careful not to burn them black or damage the leather. This completes the thread finishing. Take a look at the finished result, sew the other one using the same method. The finished material will have a curved shape. Now take this material. This end is the back panel. This end is the flap. Take the 2 shoulder strap keepers and the 2 D-ring hardware pieces. Assemble them like this, with the inner sides of the shoulder strap keepers facing each other and the rounded part of the hardware exposed. Make sure the rounded side faces the bag opening. Align the holes. Measure the thread to 3 times the stitching length and thread the needles normally. Place the back panel with the front side facing up. The shoulder strap keepers have no front or back. Align the holes. Start sewing from this hole. Use the double needle stitching method to sew the full circle of holes and finish the thread on the back side. Check the result after sewing, sew the other one using the same method. Now begin sewing the pocket. Measure the thread to 4 times the stitching length and thread the needles normally. Place both materials front side up with the pocket material on top. Align the holes. Start sewing from the first hole, sew forward normally, and finish the thread on the back side. Take a look at the result after sewing. Then flip the material and sew around this circle. Take the magnetic snap piece and place the snap on the back side of the material like this. The back sides of the two materials should be facing each other. Measure the thread to 3 times the stitching length and thread the needles normally. Be careful not to position it incorrectly. Start sewing from any hole, sew the full circle of holes, and finish the thread on the side with the magnetic snap. Now take the back panel piece and learn how to find the center hole. The hole in this area of the back panel is not circular, so we must count the holes to locate the center. Take the needle used in the previous step. Count the pocket's holes by first identifying the bottom row. Count from the first hole on the right to the 12th hole. That is the center hole. The vertically aligned hole below this one is the center hole of the back panel. Make a mark like this. Count again to confirm, in case of any mistake. Now take the front panel piece and locate its center hole. It is much larger than the other holes. It is easier to identify from the back side. If it is unclear, count the holes. Starting from the stitched hole, the 19th hole is the center. Make a mark in the same way. Take the back panel piece and place it with the back side facing up. Place the front panel piece front side up so the back sides of both materials face each other, then begin sewing around the full circle. Take the piping strip and check if both ends are even. If not, trim them. If they are even, trimming is not necessary. Sewing the entire circle in one go would require thread that is too long to handle comfortably, so we will divide it into 3 sections. The first section will be from the center hole to this position. Measure the thread to 5 times the stitching length and thread the needles normally. First, make sure all materials are placed correctly. Take the leather piping strip and align the second hole of the piping strip with the center holes of both panels. Insert the needle from front to back through the second hole on the lower side of the piping strip. Then go from bottom to top through the center holes of both materials. Be careful not to pierce the marking thread. Next, insert from bottom to top through the second hole on the upper side of the piping strip. This completes the stitching for one hole. Thread the second needle following the same sequence. Cut off both marking threads carefully. Be sure not to cut the stitching thread. Then continue sewing forward using the same method. Sew normally through the corner area. After completing the front panel, continue sewing forward as usual. Using clips to hold the materials will make sewing easier. When you reach this position, flip the material over. This side with the flap is the front side. While sewing, keep an eye on the front side to ensure a clean and attractive result. Continue sewing normally until you reach the front panel on the opposite side. When you get to this area, pause and locate the first hole on the back panel that corresponds to the front panel. Find this row of holes, identify the vertically aligned hole, and the hole to the right of it is the marking hole. Make a mark there. Align the marking hole with the first hole of the front panel. Continue sewing forward normally. Remove the marking thread before sewing the marked hole. Continue sewing forward using the same method. Be careful not to mix up the needle order. Use clips to hold the pieces in place. It will make sewing easier. After sewing the first 3 holes of the front panel, pass both threads through the gap between the 2 materials like this, leave extra thread, and cut it. Measure thread to 5 times the length of the remaining holes and thread the needles normally. Begin reconnecting the thread at the 3rd stitched hole and continue sewing forward. Since the holes already contain thread, it may be a bit harder to stitch. Begin reconnecting the thread at the 3rd stitched hole and continue sewing forward. Since the holes already contain thread, it may be a bit harder to stitch. During the first 3 stitches after reconnecting, pull the old cut threads tight to secure them. Continue sewing forward normally. Before finishing, trim off the excess piping strip. Make sure both needles end in the same hole. Now count the unstitched holes. The 5th unstitched hole is the marking hole. The piping strip should have 1 more hole than the remaining unstitched holes. Trim off the rest carefully, and be sure not to cut it too short. Then continue and complete the sewing normally. The last few stitches go through many layers. Be patient and enjoy the process. After finishing, reinforce the stitching by sewing one extra stitch forward and secure the thread on the back panel side. There is one more area inside the bag that needs thread finishing. Then finish off the thread at the place where the stitching was reconnected. The bag is finished. Thank you for choosing Babylon Leather. Wishing you the acquisition of valuable skills during your time here. If you've enjoyed our video, don't forget to like, comment, and share. For more information about this Babylon Leather DIY kit, check out the link and details in the description. Thanks for watching.